Hello, David here with Northwest Outdoor Adventures, and today I will be talking about the Nike Air Zoom Terra Kiger 4. It's kind of a mouthful, but let's jump right into it. Alright, so like I mentioned, I'll be reviewing the Terra Kiger 4 from Nike Air Zoom. And for those that have watched this channel in the past, you'll probably be surprised because this isn't an ultra shoe, and that's almost exclusively what I have worn and used, day to day for the past 2 years or so. And I was a Pearl Izumi boy before that, but that's a different story. So today we're going to be talking about, like I mentioned, this shoe, which I actually got for free, which is why I'm reviewing it. I got it for free from a race I did, the Mountain Lakes 100. It was part of the goodie bag. And so I figured, what the heck, since I got it for free, I might as well give it a shot. I know it got good reviews online, so I figured, hey, I'll try it. So I'll just kind of quickly go over, the pros and cons that I saw with the shoe. And again, this is coming from a guy who typically has worn ultras for the past couple years. So big things to think about. The shoe overall is a pretty light trail shoe. It has a 4mm, I believe, heel to toe drop. So like Ultra, it's not the zero drop that I'm accustomed to, but it's fairly minimal in that sense. So pros from the shoe, from my perspective, obviously, like I mentioned, it is lightweight. It's pretty sturdy, I guess is a word I would use to describe it. It feels pretty stiff at first, still feels a little stiff. I should mention I've put about 100 miles on these shoes, and I've worn them in 2 different races, one being a half marathon, and which was a little bit speedier of a half marathon on a trail. And so, yeah, overall, like I said, they're pretty lightweight. They feel a little sturdy. I like what they've done with this. I don't know if it's just for looks or what, but or placebo effect for me, but it feels like this lacing mechanism that they have, which may be a little bit hard to see, but up there, the little black part, it's kind of interesting. It like pulls the laces in a little bit better. And again, I'm not sure if it actually is doing anything, but it's something I've never seen in shoes before. So I thought that was a little cool. And then the whole shoe is fairly breathable. It's kind of, I don't know if it's actually knit, but it feels that way. It feels like kind of a knit material for most of the upper. And I think the look is pretty decent. It looks pretty nice. Durability, I think so far, like I mentioned, about 100 miles in. And there's really no sign of any, durability issues that I see on like some ultra shoes, cough, cough. But that being said, I guess the only thing I've seen is really you can see some creasing kind of down here on the midsole, which is just, it looks like it's just from compressing them over and over again, but it still feels very good. It feels much like when I first got the shoe. So unlike, like the Lone Peak 4s that I would say feel a little squishy after, 100 miles for sure, these still feel like they're just out of the box, brand new almost, which is great. So that's pretty much all of the pros. The cons, I would say, not a lot of people like this colorway, I guess. That'd be the first one, but I do kind of like it. It's grown on me. But for the real cons, they don't fit my feet that well. And again, this could just be an ultra thing, ultra with an A. With the wider toe box and stuff, being accustomed to those shoes, I got blisters, which I almost never get blisters. So I got 4 different blisters on a half marathon with these shoes. And I could feel the exact spots they were rubbing in. So I know it had to do with the fit of these shoes, which, just isn't for me. I think overall is kind of what I've taken away from this. And then they actually don't drain that well. So they have this weird toe cap that's kind of this plastic material. And it's definitely repellent or waterproof, I would even say, for the toe cap. And what that kind of does, at least from what I've noticed, is it just kind of holds the moisture in around my toes rather than repelling it. So I do a lot of running out in mud and rain here in the Pacific Northwest, and I've noticed that my toes just stay wet for some reason. They just don't dry out all that well. I mean, I wear wool socks usually anyway, so it's not like that huge of a deal, but I notice in the Ultras, especially the Temps, they dry out way faster than these shoes do for some reason. Even though the material seems to be lighter weight, for some reason these just hold in moisture more. I don't know why, but that's what I've noticed. And Really, that's kind of the only bad thing I would have to say about the shoes is just for me, the fit and the feel just aren't that great. So I probably wouldn't buy these again myself. The tread is kind of meh. It's whatever. I'd say they're about average for tread and shoes. Again, I do a lot of running on rocks and roots. And these do fine. They're not like, they didn't jump out at me like, oh man, I feel like I'm running with spikes on or something like that. And I wasn't slipping all over the place. So I'd just say these are about average in terms of tread. And yeah, I'd say they're a little bit speedier of a shoe, a little bit lightweight. Oh yeah, I would say they are a little stiff. For me, probably a little too stiff. Some people like that, I know, but for me, they're just a little bit too much on the stiff side. So I could also almost feel a blister coming in the back of my heel, and I think that was a little bit from the stiffness as well, mostly when I was ascending hills and things like that. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the shoe wrap up as a whole. I think it's a great shoe. I might actually try out the Nike Wild Horse. I've heard good things about that as well. Or I may just stick to my Ultras and just keep being an Ultra fanboy. We'll see how that plays out. So to wrap it up, I just want to say, people's feet are different. Everyone's foot is different. So what works for me may not work for you and vice versa. That being said, I appreciate you watching the video. Feel free to leave comments if you've used these shoes in the past and you had a different experience than me. I'd like to hear about it. And that's pretty much it. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.